he's done. Please tell me he's done, bro.
Oh my god.
What?
Fuck. I don't even know what this does. Come on, man.
Your life, literally, is as valuable as a summer ant. I'm just gonna stomp you. You're gonna keep coming back. I'ma seal up all my cracks. You're gonna keep coming back. Why? Cause you smelling the syrup. You worthless bitch-ass nigga. You gonna stay on my dick until you die. You serve no purpose in life. Your purpose in life is to be on my stream.
Not the fucking music, bro.
Is as valuable as a summer ant. I'm just gonna stop you. You're gonna keep coming back. I'm gonna seal up all my cracks. You're gonna keep coming back. Why? Because you keep smelling the syrup. You worthless bitch ass nigga. You're gonna stay on my dick until you die.
It's called an eternity.
Oh my fucking gosh.
I've made your shoes erupting out of your throat. You're obsessed with me, you fucking bag. And y'all niggas can clip this. This nigga come in my stream 24/7 with a VPN, getting paying thousands of tons a stream, and still comes in here and sucks my dick and obsesses over me.
Please.
You are a worthless bitch-ass nigga.
Bitch-ass nigga, you gonna stay on my dick until you die. You serve no purpose in life. Your purpose in life is to be on my stream sucking on my dick daily. Your purpose in life is to be in that chat blowing the dick daily. Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now and give somebody else a piece of that oxygen and ozone layer.
I think that after all of that negative energy, we should listen to something very
You
positive.
gotta be kidding me.
You're gonna get the motivational version.
It better not be an ASMR. It better not be an ASMR.
You're gonna get the
Man, fuck
motivational
you.
version.
I'll have you know that it's an ASMR.
Guys, now I know what we should do. We should all record a dance.
Annie.
Nigga.
Help. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
God.
I don't even know how the fuck you
What are we
knew
doing?
today.
Because you always do it, bro.
Nigga,
Not even always. It's just that you do it at like the very random moments.
Nigga have a girlfriend? I just realized. Hold on.
Bro, you
Man,
do it.
man.
You've done it enough. It may be rare, but
Nigga,
you've done it
she'll
enough.
listen to it with me. What do you mean? No matter if I got a
She
girlfriend.
would.
And
Probably. No.
I'm warning you right now.
That
If
nigga's
you
about
take
to
my
steal.
star, I will take it back.
Hey, how about you just don't jump? Hey, what did I do?
Oh my god, bro. Such
How
a
do you
terrible
even?
video. You don't.
Such
You
a
don't
gay
win this
game.
game. My god, you know what, bro?
Stay in that
Don't
boat.
win this game
People
because
can't even
it's unfair.
speak.
I'm going back to watching my video.
I want to play the video game.
Fire, my nigga. Sing it to the
This don't even feel like a video game right now. This feels like a fucking
Rosalina always
assignment.
first video
No.
game.
Come on out. Come on out.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna hold you. I really might just like delete this game. She said, when I was in preschool, I was the ultimate tracer. I didn't know what color was in preschool.
I feel like that like describes the fucking duality of this fucking group, bro.
Oh man, how did I screw up the freaking loop?
Skill issue.
I don't know.
What is Glock doing?
Bro was not the ultimate tracer.
He literally is though, nigga. I think
I don't think he knew what a color was, bro.
Well, he knows it.
I don't think he knew what a color was.
I don't know.
I think I just heard him snore.
Maybe
I actually think I just heard him snore.
Well, if he doesn't fucking start on this, then we know what happened.
I think he's actually snoring.
Is that even?
I think he's actually snoring. Oh no, he isn't. Is he? Is he actually asleep? No way, right?
No. If I don't know whoever's playing that fucking video, but you can kill yourself because I can't fucking hear any of that.
Guys, I think he's actually. Is he actually asleep?
13-year-old girl like this with these messages and proceed to meet up with her for sex.
Honestly, I wouldn't have known either.
Yes, I know it's illegal to that point.
Okay.
Hurry up, man! Come on.
That nigga is asleep. I don't know.
I told you, bro. I'm pretty sure he's asleep. I think I heard him snore.
Come on. All right. Do we want to call it for tonight then? If he's doing that.
I don't know who. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's actually like naturally, I think so.
Motherfucking bug.
Well, this is a bad way to end today, but
No.
I mean, not really. It's like 2 a.m. for him, I think.
Nah. Who said it had to end? We're gaming all night now.
I literally see y'all tomorrow. We'll be good.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, we'll be at the party anyway, so
Ooh, no way.
yeah, we'll be chilling.
Oh, I wanted
All right, see you guys.
I see ya.
Y'all lives are as valuable. I'm serious. Good night.
Him from having these sexually charged experiments with his nieces and nephews. You know, I'm not accusing anyone of anything here, but it is a concern. Really is a concern. We got the message across clearly what you were here to do. That one tracker message. Yes, so the ovulation, right, the ovulation, I did forget to touch base on that one. Trying to see which one that was, Kelvin. Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah, here you say that you should load a period tracker on your phone and see when your ovulation date is. Right. So, why did you want to do that? Was that part of the pregnancy thing? That was just part of you look at that pregnancy thing. That was just fine. I know a lot of people. This is just a 13-year-old girl having to look at a pregnancy thing like that. She doesn't answer me what your answer would have been. Okay. And I think that's okay. Sir. Randy Alvin, this is popular there. Like a period tracker. See what she would say. It was an experiment. I just want to know what her answer was going to say. Calvin, come on. It's just not adding up, Calvin. Do you really expect us to believe that, Calvin? Do you think that Lisa will believe it? He asked this girl if she keeps track of her period. And then says that she should get an ovulation device, some sort of keep track of her periods. You just gotta wonder why in the world would tell me to know what this girl is going to be on the menstruation cycle. The only thing that I can think of is maybe he wanted to know sort of the time periods of when he would actually be able to get pregnant. Because I think that he's 100% willing to go through these things as long as I really do. We all know what an experiment. It's just ridiculous. So what do you think would happen? What do you think should happen to you, first of all? Do you think the police will buy your story here? And I'll tell you right now, I walk, I talk to nobody, and I move to the state and start my life over because I've been through some bad times. You want to help people by impregnating them. I don't want a 13-year-old girl. Not that way. I'm not that way. So I want to help people as in mentally convincing them that there's better things in life. This is bringing up a market. Because like half the stuff in there, like a lot of people don't even know. It's pretty dirty channel. Actually, like you're turning it on. She didn't know what that was. As far as I can recall at first. So like, you're bringing these things into this 13-year-old's mind, bro. I get that. I get that. I understand I'm bringing it in there. I'm not. Did you know that before you did it? Not really. I didn't pay any that much attention. I didn't think about it that well. So you're not doing it very clearly. No, I'm still figuring and learning still and creating. So you're more of a novice psychologist, you would say. A bit on the lower level of psychology. and look more
safely, and I'm gonna go and go home and go out for the night. So you walk home, I'm going home, you have a great night, I have a great sleep, and let's not talk again unless your mother isn't available.
Kevin, your breath stinks, so I want to do anything with you anyway. That's my 13-year-old girlfriend. That's what she probably would have said. So, okay. Well, that was pretty convincing speech. I know that you cleared that before you came. Okay. Being that you do experiments, we also do a little bit of experiments ourselves. I just want to let you know, I'm Steve Hansen with the Pretorial Investigation Unit. We're doing an online series about adults who try to meet up and talk sexual to minors online. And I just want to let you know, you've just been skeeted. And if there's anything else you have to say, we'd love to hear it. If not, you're obviously free to go. We're going to be submitting this to the police and so on. That's all you got to say.
Like I said, I just wanted to learn.
Just wanted to listen. Okay. Well, I think we've learned a lot today.
I wanted to just a response. Like I said, I have nothing is rehearsed, nothing is all just coming from here.
Off the dome, straight up. Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
I mean, obviously,
I got you, Calvin.
No.
Kind of sounded like it's me. I smell a lot of BS coming from this conversation. But Calvin, if that's the story that you're sticking to, then hey, you know, gotta hold you to it.
Give me a Bible. Give me a Bible. Sir.
I mean, I think the book section is over there somewhere.
Actually, I do.
You go to church. Does your pastor know about this?
No.
You're free, so he's probably
Like I said, I did.
just research.
Just research.
Okay. So, well, okay, Calvin.
Other than that, it's only been this girl. It's only one. I did. This is the first one I
said, hey, it's the first 13-year-old girl I came across. Let me do an experiment.
Right. Other than that, like I said, I've always talked about drugs, alcohol addiction, things like that. And I've done good to help them. You know, hey man, I'm feeling the edge. Dude, man, calm down, man. Let me come back to you. You know, let's talk. Sit down and talk this all out.
Understandable.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't need drugs to make it through life. You don't need alcohol to make it through life.
You don't need sex with 13-year-old girls to make their life either. So.
You don't. And like I said, I was just looking for serious response.
Okay.
I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear it.
Maybe you can clear it.
Matthew 18:6. Okay. So whoever causes one of these little ones, they can be to say, it'd be better for him to have a great milestone, passing around his neck, and be drowned in that sea. I believe it. So me too. Like I said, I don't Calvin. You talk sexually. I wanted to be very sexual. It doesn't really matter the reason why you talk sexually. No. You did it.
When did you get it?
So here's a 13-year-old girl texting a grown man. How old are you? 40? Texting a 40-year-old man. Saying,
Now, what if you had a 13-year-old daughter? Do you have kids? So what if you had a 13-year-old daughter and a 40-year-old man was coming to meet up with her after a conversation like this?
yeah.
How would that make you feel, Calvin?
Kind of pissed.
Kind of pissed.
Upset.
Okay.
But I would want her to come to me and be like, look, you talked me out of doing something. I swear on the whole Bible, you did nothing equally involved.
Gotcha. So it would be okay at the end of the day.
It would not be okay. There was more of a restriction of when you go out with, and how
I'll give her a bit of encouragement after trying to be
hey, your mom is supposed to be at work. What are you doing now? That was another thing.
Okay.
Why are you doing that?
Well, Kevin, I hope you never have kids. All right.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a couple of now.
Well, that's good. We're hoping we can fix you in other ways too. And again, Kevin, if that's all you have to say, you know, you've just been skeeted and all that. So if you're ready, you know, you can free to walk away. We'll just get your license plate and we'll submit everything to the police and we'll be out and away. So that's what we're gonna have to do, Kevin. So Kevin's the other Calvin Klein shirt. I mean, what are the odds that we would be at this particular point, at this time, at this location, that this alleged professor's name would be Calvin? And then that this woman would have to be walking around where we're at, wearing Calvin Klein shirt. A shirt that has Calvin's first name. If I'm being honest, I feel like God was watching this all occur from above, and he was just like, you know what would be funny right now? Dude. And the woman just kind of spawns out of nowhere. That sort of I really think something like that could have happened. I mean, whether this was an act of God or not, at this point, I certainly believe in a higher power. I want to help, but you want to help, okay? I want that. We can put you in contact with the police right now if you want. Hey, do what we have to do. We need help. You don't know you can't help us. You need to help yourself, sir. You're talking sexually about minor. Not you are trying to keep the minor. You're all saying that you're talking about this. You want to teach her a lesson. You see, without the only guy who can come that ain't a lot. Your story is not going to. I have to spend I am telling you, if you would just say, look, I talked to the here to be here. I'm sorry. I'll have something to do. I'm not just giving us the flag. I'm actually going to want to but I'm not wanting you to have to do both that. It was just an experience. I said it. I wanted to know. I just wanted to know both that way. Okay, fine. I got it. If that's your story, well, that's a story he wants to stick to. That's fine. So we need to tell them about his experience. Do you think we should talk honestly? Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. There we go. We'll do it then. I don't want no trouble. Well, this chat log here is trouble, Cal, let me tell you. And you knew that. And you even said that at some point that you didn't want to get in trouble. Right. I just wanted to kind of response for that risky experiment. And sometimes it pays off. Well, I don't think it paid off this time for you, Cal. Look, this can happen so easy. Well, you see how easy it happens. You know, and to be honest, I kind of want to be caught, but I wanted to see how well this can play. You want him to be caught? I wanted to, yeah, because I wanted. He says that he wanted in a sting up to further conduct his curiosity research. Apparently. I mean, that's very, very amusing thing. I didn't think I would ever do anything like that throughout my days. I mean, Calvin has said some, mind-boggling things before, but this just shocked me. I really couldn't believe that. How much? So you're hoping out. You want this to happen. You're hoping that they put you in handcuffs, they go to jail. But I don't want to. But I wanted to. So So you pretty much need to walk into a setup.
Pretty much, yeah. You know, I can question the tattoo. Like, you know, you got a tattoo of fine. Actually, no, see,
It's possible.
I never did. I never had. I mean, I know it's been hard. I never did. You know, but it's not.
So I got you, Cal. You know, just sit tight.
So,
You're gonna stop here.
I was stop here.
Okay. Say that conducts my experiment.
Get back there.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
They're gonna come back again.
Okay.
But you said once you have enough of this, once you've compiled enough research, and you're not gonna get enough research by one person, but it's enough for my theory of life. One.
He's running a smaller scale experiment. Right, Calvin?
There's enough variation. Great.
So Calvin is just someone who has to plan out for himself, you know, what they say here, you have to kill the cat, you know, that sort of thing. So, I got you, Calvin.
Yeah, Tom. I'm a fair admirer, and
You want to tell Tom what you're doing here?
I got caught up in talking to Mike, and now I'm talking to
Hey, how you doing? Hi, so, I was the one that called. We run sort of an online scene operation where we catch online predators, and we just came here after having such a charged conversation with a 13-year-old girl, Agent Snyder, to meet up with her. We just had a conversation with him in the store, and I have all the chat logs here. And we just want to kind of give you guys the information, let you know what's going on here, see if there's anything that can be done. I do have all the chat logs right here. That's his picture. See his name. That's the number he was texting from. I believe that's his primary number. Yeah, the girl says she's 13.
how long has this been going on?
Just a conversation with him. I want to say coming up on 2 weeks now. Roughly a week and a half. Yeah.
So, like, what are you planning on doing today?
Today the plan generally was we made up a story that the girl was home alone. Her mom was gone. The plan was planned to come over and potentially have sex.
She lives somewhere in the area.
And she lives across the street, so they were going to go back over to her place, and they wanted to meet in public, so it would be more comfortable for meeting for the first time.
Where did they meet? Her parents are out of town.
Her mom was at work for the night. Yes, that was the plan.
Is that listed as like a sex?
Well, not yet. He was saying he was just kind of fits the bill. I don't know where, some sort of warehouse construction it's, we thought that was pretty weird as well. Yeah.
I probably won't be able to charge it tonight.
Okay.
For what I'm prosecuting. Special prosecutors.
Sure.
On Monday, I can probably get charged.
Okay.
Something will happen.
Well, let's hope so, you know, I mean, let's get this thing straight. And I can email you everything, tonight. sort of the rundown of what's going on. And ultimately, Calvin is patted down. We find out that he was actually carrying a pocket knife, which this is the first time, to my knowledge, that a predator has shown up with any sort of weapon on. Kind of makes you think a little bit, you know. Calvin gets put in handcuffs, put in the back of the police car, and is taken in for further questioning. I then sent all the information I had to their detective bureau, and it's going to be an ongoing investigation. Even if nothing ultimately happens, Calvin is hoping to try and other experiments like this again. Because we do these experiments, catching predators, all the time. It's not going to be. All we can do now is keep an eye out for it. Hope that Calvin got all of the research data that he was getting. Though I hope he brings up some predator. I'm your host, Skeet Hansen, and that's going to be a Cowboys and Girls. Let's go.
You mean this one? It's your last chance to trade in any iPhone for a new iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
There was no damage to the vehicle, and he was able to continue on. So again at the intersection. That's Rosecrans Avenue. And I don't know what the cross street is. You can't really see the cross street on that one. But he's just sitting on that turn lane, allowing for traffic to continue to go past. It's at North Wilmington Avenue. There's a cross street there. So look at all of the officers around. He is not restricted in moving forward. So I don't really want to do that. That would put officers at risk. But he is not getting out of the vehicle. So you can actually see again there the balloon in his hand, and it looks to be up near his mouth. So you don't necessarily know what's going on there, but you can make your own assumptions. Again, watching to see if he will get out of the car and surrender to authorities, but right now they are not pushing him. The last time we saw this type of circumstance, again, the officer in that vehicle right there got to open the door as if he was going to get out and push, and then the driver just drove away. So we're now waiting to see what this pickup is going to do. We don't necessarily, and there's no opportunity necessarily to do a pit maneuver at this point, but right now we are at a standstill as we're looking to see what happens with this person. From the other side, you can tell the window was down. Can't really see anything other than the contents of the back of the pickup, which again, like three stops out, celebrate in the back of the pickup. Given some stability, he was driving at high rates of speed, but he's not necessarily. He's just not pulling up. So now we see the pit. There's another pit in the intersection. If he follows suit, which he did, he's going to try to get away. And now he's made it dangerous driving into oncoming traffic. The officers are continuing to welcome him and try to stop him. But now look, as he has literally had a couple people standing outside, taking their cell phone images of it, and this is almost exactly what happened a moment ago. They did the pit, there's a spike strip, and we're seeing that out the front tire. It did look like as if he died on the driver's side of the front wheel, and if it did, you'll see that tire start to disintegrate, and the driver will lose some control of that vehicle. But they might have missed him, and we'll see. He's going about 45 miles an hour, 41 miles an hour, so that is not excessive when you talk about this area. But he, again, has alerted authorities that they did a pit maneuver. And I'm surprised at how many officers were there. And as I look at it, you can tell that it does seem as if the front end is sitting a little bit low. It could be over there, trying with interception of the picture of the car. My perspective is that the pilot is back, so maybe they did not get. And now we have somebody. So the officers again, there are plenty of officers behind. It was LA County Sheriff that we saw. And so here they are again at an intersection, and you see an abundance of officers there. But the driver just dangerously into the intersection, and that has been a consistent behavior on this person's part. The only thing that we've seen him do is 2 pit maneuvers, and at neither time did he call the person stop. They just drove across the median and started heading in the other direction. And so now here we are. Again, this is Rosecrans now at North Acacia Avenue, and the driver continues to not yield. And there it is again. You can see another shot with the balloon for this suspect. Now we're about to see another pit maneuver, and there's another one. And we'll see if the chief's trying to pin him in a little bit more. He's going to have a little bit more of an opportunity to go over those medians, and he's done it again. Now he's going into officers. This is where it begins to get dangerous for other people, because even though he's going at a slow rate of speed, he is just not stopping. He's going into traffic. So now we've gotten off of Rosecrans, and we are on a side street here at about 25 miles an hour. No word on if there was any damage to the You just worry about the bike path. You see officers here, so they're trying to keep him from heading that direction. Concern I would have is if he turns right, that seems to be the direction of the vehicle. Then if he somehow got on that bike path, he will not make that choice.
back up, which of course is not what you want to see. That is the that we did, that he was starting his combat compliant, but yeah, now he's up in there, he's getting more pepper spray. So that's really wonder if they might go with tear gas, something that might even be, more of it to fill the whole cab. But the pepper spray is pretty bad. I'm surprised he's able to stay in there and handle whatever they have done.
Well, time is on the side of law enforcement. They can take their time on this. There's no rush. It doesn't mean that anyone is in danger in the neighborhood. All the states have made any effort to evacuate people on the side of this street. Hard to know.
Well, the one thing, my concern was the fact that you mentioned he might have been able to do it. But the good news is he's been here long enough that officers, sheriff deputies, have been able to secure that backpack. So if he were to do it right, even if he could, my assumption is that they will have secured that. Nobody's going to be coming down in the direction of that backpack. So to your point about people being safe, I think that the bike path, because that is really the only place to go, those areas have been moved off, and nobody's going to be coming back to that bike path. But at this point, yeah, like you said, they can potentially sit here and wait as long as needed. The community is, for the most part, not at risk because he's stuck in this location, he's been in, and so as they just continue to pepper him, pepper balls, they'll just kind of wait and see what he's doing. He's very nonchalant about his behavior, including his driving. They're shooting more in the every time. Yeah, you can really tell when they are filling that cab with the pepper ball because he's opening the window, I think, to let the pepper spray out. And so who knows if maybe they fired rubber bullets through the glass. I can't really see what what his window behind him looks like. He's got a window, I presume, through his open window, and they're shooting pepper through the window. So he's located. Now he is out of the scene. So again, we did watch him inhaling something from a balloon, which I assume intuitively that it was heated. We watched him with a canister of some sort filling the balloon. We got the cue, some video there on the right side of the screen of what he was doing. It was he was just non-stop for a while. They went into surveillance level 1 minute and he was recklessly driving through town. In fact, we saw him stop at stop signs, we saw him stop at stoplights, and he tried to pit maneuver, and he was able to just continue on. And these we've seen now too, and then you see this one each time he had almost come to a stop and then just drove away and would not stop, much like this.
Right here. The one that I was looking at earlier, I was so surprised that he just made his way through those patrol vehicles, that one patrol vehicle getting his way. They must know something that we don't know about. We don't know anything. We don't know.
Now he seems to be communicating again with the officers, which to this point officers continue to do what they have used pepper balls, fired them into the cab, which has not seemed to bother me too much. He's either smoking or vaping at this point. I don't know really what that is. And going back to the beginning of this chase, we don't know what he was wanted for. So he did all we've really seen is clearly getting the yield, and if you want to add in, he drove this vehicle right at officers, so that could be an additional charge of potentially officer. But mostly it's not been the chase that put people at risk. It was just this, to the right, what you see. That one time when he drove into traffic.
Right. Well, this right here, you can see on the right of your screen that is clearly dangerous. And obviously not wanting to let those officers take custody of him. So he's evading for some reason. We just don't know what it is.
Which they use to fill the balloons, or they sometimes use whipped cream dispensers. The gas is inhaled from the balloon or the dispenser, so that's very possibly what's been happening here. So thank you for sending that to us. But you're looking now at much without, they say now they've got to just toss the tear gas right in.
Yeah, they sure did.
And we're also getting more nitrous oxide is usually what people huff when they're using the balloons. That comes from one of our executive producers.
That could be one of the reasons they were stopping him. Maybe someone saw him with the balloon, and they thought that that was enough of a reason to try to get him to stop.
Or if he was under the influence already and driving erratically. There's so many reasons why at this point it's just he's clearly now seeing some of the consequences of the pepper spray, because you can see it, and it can make you physically ill as well. I mean, I would not be surprised if he throws up.
Yeah, he's using his t-shirt to sort of wipe his eyes. At least that's what it looked like to me a moment ago. He does seem to be, well, he's still smoking, but yeah, he seems in a little bit of distress.
Well,
But he's still smoking.
and the officers clearly, it does seem as if they don't think he's armed, in the fact that they approached the vehicle so closely that they were willing to throw a canister right into the cab, and at some point that's going to win out. I can't imagine anyone okay, now he's wiping it as much as he can from his face, which doesn't really help that much.
Doesn't it make it worse?
It kind of makes it worse. I mean, you almost need to just have it washed off, but he just is not affected, not completely, about what's going on. I mean, casually he watches his face. No, he's not motivated to get out. So we're able to put the spotlight, which zooms us in a little bit, but he is in some distress. This is not pleasant for him at this point. You can tell by sticking his head out the window, he's trying to get out of some of it.
I think he's talking to him.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can see on the dash some of the pepper spray, I believe. The dashboard, the white substance there. That he gets that on his hands. That too can, then you're wiping your face and you're making it. That's when you're talking about making it worse. And if he's using his shirt to wipe it, he's got any of that on his shirt. And so now he wipes his face with his shirt. He's just going to be making it worse. And at some point, I would think the pepper spray is going to override whatever he has been inhaling. And that looks more like a vape now, a vape canister, a pen of some sort.
We don't know what's in the vape.
No. It could be any number of things. But clearly, thanks to the folks that have helped us out with what he was possibly inhaling was possibly nitrous oxide. Again, we don't want to make any assumptions as to what's going on, although we saw him with the balloon, saw him refill it. And here we go again. It does look as if they have another one in their hand. They will let go. See if he tries to throw it out, or if he just allows it to come in there. Oh, now, okay. See, and then that's interesting. So they throw it in there, and he can't get it out because...
Now he's reacting.
See, he tries to get it out, and they fire those pepper balls in there to keep him away from it, so that they get the benefit of the gas going into the vehicle.
Now he's trying to get some clean air. Or maybe he's ready to surrender?
He does have his hands up, but that is not how they want him to surrender. He's gonna have to follow their commands before they are going to change anything that they're doing. He's going to have to open it up and back up to them. They're not going to let him say, stop shooting.
Right. And now we can say that he was wanted for reckless driving. That has been confirmed. So that is why they were trying to stop him initially.
And if he was also under the influence, you can see why. Because here we go again. So let's see what they're going to do as he continues. They do have less than lethal, you can see in their hands.
Okay, he's not ready to come out because he just put the window up, then back down. As they approached, he put the window back up. And when they backed off, he lowered it again. What is he trying to do?
He's
seems like he's trying to say, I give up.
Well,
but I don't know.
but if he is under the influence, he may be saying all of the things, but he's clearly not physically doing what they're asking him to do. And that, yeah, it does look as if he's got his hand on the door, so we'll see if he does that. But he is in a no-win situation. He needs to win. He's going to continue to suffer from this pepper spray and this tear gas until he comes out of that vehicle, because it is, you can see it, it is all over the inside of that cab, and there is nothing he can touch in that cab that is not covered with either pepper spray or, you know, whatever remnants of the tear gas are in, including the shirt that he continues to wipe his face with. He's got something in his left hand. Oh, that's the vape. That's the vape. I thought maybe he had picked up one of those tear gas elements that they threw in. But we don't know. Other than the reckless driving that Giovanna mentioned, we don't necessarily know if there's anything else. Because, you know, we do see the tree stumps in the back of the pickup truck. So basically, it was a reckless driving suspect. And again, sheriff's deputies pulled back into a surveillance mode for a moment, and then they resumed the chase, and now here we are at this West Poplar Street access to a bike path there in Compton. And so now, until they can find a way to get him out of there, it's just going to be this.
Yeah. Waiting. They're trying to persuade him, and he is not going to go easily, apparently.
Well,
I just wonder what he's trying to negotiate.
You can see when he points at officers, and you can see that he is, it seems to me, to be loudly either yelling at them or talking at them, and you know they're going to try to de-escalate. And look at the one sheriff kind of waving his hand in front of his face. I would assume they can even smell some of that pepper spray if any of it blows in their direction.
Yeah, at the top of the screen, I saw the two officers who are armed take a few steps back, and now they're lowering their weapons. Maybe the suspect is saying, I'm not getting out. I mean, this is all speculation, but maybe saying, you know, this makes me nervous, I'm not getting out. So.
Well, they will back up if he, you know, if he in some manner yells at them and says, you guys get back. They will cede some territory, but not enough to let him move. I mean, they're wanting him to come out of the vehicle, and if it begins to agitate him, they might. Because as you mentioned, Javon, time is on their side, especially when you start thinking about the community. People living near there, right next to it, are impacted. But where he is not going to impact very many people. He's not driving on streets, putting children at risk as they leave for school. He's not putting pedestrians at risk. It is just this one part. And even look, right across the street, you have sheriff's deputies across the street. Should he somehow jump out and try to run across that bridge, he is pinned in. So they can stay there as long as they want and wait for him to come out.
Wiping his face again. That must be very unpleasant to be in that cab.
Well, we have seen, I think, 2 tear gas canisters go in and countless pepper balls go in. So that is as much any reason why he's hanging his head out of the window, is because in the cab of that truck, it must be incredibly unpleasant.
And he continues to vape.
So now they are looking, and it looks like a couple of the officers have gas masks on. So they could possibly go up to him to remove him from there. And they might start with more tear gas, more pepper spray, and they'd want to make sure that they're not facing consequences of that. But we've seen multiple. This is one thing that about Less Than Lethal. It's not always something that stops people. I have watched people peppered many times with rubber balls or anything, and sometimes they don't stop if they're under the influence. So here we go again. As officers begin to approach, you see several of them with masks on. We saw another couple of rounds here. They might even use pellets to pop him in the arm.
What is this officer? It looks like he is firing.
Well, paintballs, a version of a paintball can be very painful for someone if they're shooting with it. So let's see what he does here as he goes. They could break the window if they chose to. Let's see what he is going to do here now. And I can't tell if he's starting to try to back out. So he's They're going to pull back now because, again, you don't want to put officers at risk, but he's not going to back that truck up anyway. Look at the tires.
Though.
So he will start to smoke those tires out, which could cause a fire of his tires as well. This is incredibly
Look at this.
unhinged behavior.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that will really heat up. So he should be careful himself. But again, to say he's not in his right mind would be very possibly. I think something. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to say.
Definitely under the influence of something.
Yeah, and he's behaving incredibly erratically now, and it's simply he just doesn't want to get out of trouble. You can look in the back. They removed the spike strip, so another officer could get behind that vehicle and add just a little bit more in the event that was necessary. But that's the thing about a pickup truck as well. So there's no weight right now other than those tree stumps in the back of that vehicle. So you're not getting the traction in the back of that pickup that you might get in a car or a heavier vehicle that's got some weight over those spinning tires. So there's not much in the way of weight given how much a pickup can hold. I mean, that's a half ton, but he's not going to move that truck or those SUVs with that truck, even if the second vehicle wasn't there.
Honestly, I'm surprised he's not out of the truck and trying to make his way across that bridge. Because why?
Very true, but if he gets out,
I mean, we don't want that.
If he gets out and he's not armed, he's going down very quickly. But he might not be able to run. Yeah. He might not be able to walk clearly, given what we've watched him do as far as inhaling. So right now he's just. This is where the officers don't want to put themselves at risk anymore, because if you go in front of the vehicle as an officer to approach that direction, you could be seriously hurt because there's enough room for him to go forward, but he's going to go over that fence, and you just don't want to. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to put any officers at risk. So I just keep trying to see if he can turn right, and I can't tell that he can.
And again, it's 1:30. If you're just joining us, looking for regular programming, we are following breaking news in Compton. This is happening. This is the end of a police pursuit on West Poplar Street and Wilmington, again in Compton. And you see law enforcement, I believe sheriff's vehicles there and sheriff's deputies trying to get the suspect to surrender. We understand that they tried to stop him. Right around 12:30, maybe before then, for reckless driving in the Compton area, and they followed him for a while. Did you say that they pulled off the pursuit?
Early on, they went into surveillance mode, but they never just walked him away. But they just shot more pepper balls into the cab of the truck. So they have continued to try to get him
to come
out of there.
And what you're watching is the end of an effort, a pretty, aggressive effort to get him to stop. 3 pit maneuvers and 2 spike strips that I can count.
And 2 tear gas canisters, at least multiple rounds of pepper spray that have gone into the cab of the vehicle. And he tossed something else out of the vehicle. It could have been whatever he was vaping. Couldn't really tell that. It looks that little white thing that you see there next to whatever that canister was possibly that he tossed. But at least at this point, he has stopped his effort to back up. You can see the skid marks there in front of the vehicle where he backed up and left a little bit of the rubber on the street. But again, he's not really a threat to anybody in the community. He's completely surrounded. But if you are wondering what's going on there in Compton, you can see that he is completely surrounded by officers, and he continues to yell at them as he hangs out the window, but he will not get out of the vehicle. If he keeps leaning over, he might fall out of his own, and if he does, I think the officers would swarm him fairly quickly. But he continues to hang out, and when I say hang out, I mean
hang out of the window.
Quite literally hanging out of the window.
Hanging out of the window because it's likely very uncomfortable in the cab because of the tear gas.
spotlighted it two. That's two different things that he has tossed out of the vehicle right there. That little white piece is the most recent thing. It almost looks like a pack of cigarettes. We don't believe that's what it was because it looked like that was what he was inhaling. Then we had something else that, from my perspective, it kind of looked like a canister of some sort. And we did see him inhaling something from a balloon. So we know that it is very likely he's under the influence. And for these officers, they have to take that into account too, because he is going to continue to behave erratically. And, again, there's no reason for anyone, any bystanders or any officers or even the suspect to get hurt in this if by simply waiting for him to become more reasonable, however that happens, that is what everybody would probably prefer.
He doesn't seem to be in a hurry either. I don't think he seems to be the most patient.
Well, again, if he is under the influence, I don't know that he has a massive grasp of time lapse. So he, could just be in his own space right now, and he, in his mind, he could just be, these people are bothering me. But he's not, that he has something to inhale again. There we go again. So he hasn't thrown away whatever it was that he was using, or maybe he has another one. It does look like we're getting word that a second patrol car behind the suspect vehicle actually ran over their own spike strip. So they might have actually flattened their own tire. We saw them try to pull it away.
I thought they moved the spike strip.
Well, but not before they ran over it. So it does look as if that front tire is starting to lose air. So as they tried to pull it away, but remember that they did that when he was trying to push that SUV back. So they were simply trying to keep him from going anywhere. But it will delay the cleanup of this space because you'll have to change the tire and get the vehicle out of the way.
Right. And to your right, I don't know if we can re-rack that video of the deputies approaching the pickup truck. They've approached the pickup truck several times, a couple of times to drop more tear gas, right? That's what we're assuming. And then now you're looking at his effort to drive out and push, get out of the area. He's trying to back out.
And you see on the left, he's now doing it again. So that's live on the left, and it was tape on the right, and so he was once again trying to back up a little bit. And see that's one of the problems we have. We can't tell that the engine's still running, but they can. So they know that the vehicle is still running. For a moment there, I kind of thought he had just put it in park and turned it off, but clearly he hasn't. You can see it there right now.
There it goes again.
And it's so nonchalant the way he's doing it, so that.
I wonder if he even knows that he has his foot on.
I think he at least at some level he knows, but I do think that it's interesting. It's hard for us because we can't hear the conversations. The officers there, they know more about his demeanor. They know more about his language. They know more about his approach to them because they're talking to him. They have established the communication, which is a good thing. And with any luck, they will be able to convince him to just go ahead and get out.
And I wonder if, as we are taking a closer look at what's happening, if we backed out, if Air 7 could back out, we could see if maybe they're reinforcing the other side of the wash with more patrol units.
Sure. Well, they're certainly blocking traffic. Yeah.
Because this is a residential area on both sides, and that is always a concern. Although there doesn't appear to be any danger to people living there. But when bullets start to fly, you just never know.
Well, we did see there was one officer there that is right next to that van, and it looks as if I believe he has either a pepper ball gun or a paintball gun. See the canister there on top? That's kind of paintball. It's probably pepper balls, but that's a canister that will feed the air rifle. Now he was waving at the people, I believe, across the wash to have them move. My assumption is because if an officer is over there, right at this point we have not seen shots fired. We've seen less than lethal action, but you don't want any officers in any potential line of fire. So it seemed as if he was kind of waving somebody off, maybe if they were over there by the watch, like you were saying. But yeah, there's you can put a lot of pepper balls balls in that canister that's there on top of that, and they have multiple officers with those pepper balls surrounding his vehicle. So if they want to continue to use it, they can, but it doesn't seem as if it's been very effective as far as meeting their goal of getting him out of there.
And I don't know if you have the answer to this question, or whatever, experts here at the station will know the answer to this, but the one of the police officers is holding a rifle that has what I think is yellow. It's a yellow rifle.
Those are generally used to they're usually to identify less than lethal. So anything with the tape, sometimes it's orange, sometimes it's red, sometimes it's yellow. But you want to be able to identify what kind of weapon you're lifting up. There's a perfect example right there. Now, they could be any range of less than lethal force. Sometimes you'll have tasers, pepper balls, rubber bullets, and there he goes with the tires again. So you have any number, but it is generally a describer of less than lethal weapons.
Just a moment ago, we saw him once again try to, put his foot on the pedal and get the gas going and try to back out of that where he is right now.
And the odd behavior is he continues to talk. The odd behavior is he continues to talk to them even as he does it. So a couple of times we've seen this. As they approach, if he starts to move, they generally backed off. So here they go. They're putting a lot in there on him, and he's still got that canister. See the canister that he has?
Oh, he picked it up.
And that's but look at his hands right there. That is a massive canister of something.
He just threw it out.
Yeah, he threw the tear gas out, which I think is why they fire the pepper balls in there. They throw the pepper balls at him so that pepper balls, rubber bullets.
What is it?
Maybe directly from the canister, but that is a huge canister that he's got there now. That goes a little beyond the nitrous oxide, the whipped cream kind of canisters that we were talking about a minute ago. But who knows what it is? But yeah, what they're doing, it seems, is they approach with tear gas that will really make breathing in the cab difficult. And the way they keep him from grabbing and throwing it out, which we saw, is to fire a lot of less than lethal rounds in there, whether those are rubber bullets or pepper balls or whatever they might be, because then he's less likely to reach over and grab it. But he has continued to be more than capable of fighting off their rounds and grabbing the canister and throwing it aside.
That was the first time I saw him do that. Did you see that earlier?
I think he might be getting it out somehow, maybe either on the other window or maybe into the cab. But when you get one of those tear gas canisters within a cab that space, we'll see it. We would see it from here. It would completely fill up the vehicle for a period of time until it started to kind of go out the windows. So he's been able to get it out of there somehow. And again, he threw it out just now.
And again, this suspect wanted for reckless driving in the Compton area, and that's what started this pursuit that has now run into about an hour, if we are following the clock correctly, accurately. And again, this is still in the Compton area, a residential area, and you see the suspect surrounded by sheriff's deputies who are outside of their vehicles and armed with less than lethal weapons, and they fired several rounds of pepper spray, tear gas. Is that correct?
Yes.
We think. Getting information from our assignment desk. And we're still trying to get more information about the situation here. And as soon as we get more details, of course, we'll share it with you. But right to the right of your screen, you're looking at video from just a few minutes ago when deputies approached the pickup and threw some tear gas, I believe, a canister in the back cab of that pickup truck. That was from several minutes ago. And then maybe, 5 minutes ago, we saw them do it again, drop tear gas into the actual where the driver is, and he picked it up and threw it outside towards the wash.
And there's the possibility they might have disabled the truck by using, when they approach, they might have jammed something in the wheel well there so he can't go forward. He might not be able to go forward, and that might be what we're looking at there to the left. So it's very possible he can't go forward. Well, it's a spike strip, but it might have been something that we were talking about earlier, where it just disables the vehicle from continuing going. But notice he hasn't tried to go forward at all. only backwards. So it does appear as if they disabled the vehicle, which again goes back to your point of the time is on officer side. He's not going anywhere. They know he can't go forward. And that's good news because we didn't want him on the bike path. We didn't want him making a turn. And so now here he is, and he continues to face down the rubber bullets and the pepper spray and the tear gas that has been filling up that cab. And again, you can see it on the dashboard. We've talked about it, and it's significantly worse now than it was the first time we mentioned it. Look at all the white substance that's on the dash, and all of that is pepper spray, tear gas, anything that they can get to try to get him out of there.
And the reason we are seeing him exit through the window, or have the upper part of his body outside the window, is because it must be so difficult.
And there come more. See, look, they have several angles to get that in there now. They can go in the passenger side window, which is likely broken, and they have just been putting rounds into that cab. But it doesn't seem like the pepper spray balls are working that much. They're making him uncomfortable, but it doesn't seem to fill up.
What is he inhaling? Is that also
straight from the can? And it is.
And he has a vape on his left hand.
And you wouldn't want to. Yeah, the inconsistencies of behavior for this guy just makes it, really a situation where the officer's going to want to wait. They're just going to want to wait and make sure that they can safely get him out of there. There he goes, inhaling again, which, by the way, if you think about the discomfort in the cab, he may be doing that because that is his source of trying to comfort himself in some weird way. Maybe that lessens the, if he is under the influence further, maybe if the pepper spray and all the other less than lethal efforts don't affect him as much. Who knows?
And then there is the mental health factor that we haven't really discussed, but we don't know what his mental health status is right now and what his history has been, so that might be playing a role in this. I do have a programming note. If you have tuned in to watch Tamron Hall, you can watch today's program at 1:06 a.m.
And that will be here on ABC7. We have been Philip Palmer along with Giovanna Lara, and we have been covering this breaking news for a little over an hour now. It was a chase for some time as officers were trying to pull this person over for reckless driving. I'm seeing a new person here with the hat and the shirt walking up. He might be a negotiator of some point. He looks a little different than anybody we have seen, and they kind of made way to let them come forward. I do not know if he is a hostage negotiator, but that could be an effort that they're having, just one more different voice that is going to try to reach this man in some way to get him to come out. Again, the driving of this person during the pursuit was never really high speeds. He wasn't really disobeying a lot of traffic laws, but it was dangerous at several times when the pit maneuver was used, and he had to drive into oncoming traffic at some time. He has gone through an intersection like this, and if you watch there on the right, you'll see him as he just simply drove away into the line of the officers, and then watches he goes over that median and then back into traffic the other way. So to say it's not dangerous is not true. I'm just trying to distinguish between chases we have seen recently where the mere chase was a risk and scary to the general population. This person, when he was driving, seemed for the most part to obey most of the traffic laws. We watched him come to intersections, come to full and complete stop. We watched him sit through traffic lights until he was given the arrow, and then he just drove away, and he just never would yield to officers, which is exactly what he's been doing as he sits at that bike path, unable to go forward.
And that is that you're describing everything that we saw once Air 7 was on it, but before that pursuit was already underway, officers were trying to stop him because of reckless driving. And it might have been, similar to what we've seen, but we don't have any reports of him, to your point, driving radically.
What you're talking about right there is perfect. I mean, he wasn't safe. That's for sure. He was not a safe driver at any level. And yeah, there are any number of ways of driving recklessly. But just as a descriptor of this chase, it was unusual in that you could have been sitting at a stoplight next to this person and not knowing that he was involved in a chase because he was just sitting waiting on the light along with everybody else.
That's right. And it does look like this guy, this man that we saw walk up in the black t-shirt and the hat, does, well, for a while there, it looked like he was talking to him, trying to reason with him, as you said.
Well,
and now he even seemed to be looking at him.
He appears, again, he's not armed. If you notice, everyone else has some version of weapon. He is the one person who's not armed, at least not holding a weapon. So my assumption is that, yeah, he is a negotiator of some sort, trying to just de-escalate this, convince this person to come out of the vehicle.
Yeah, and the driver is now reaching for something. He's holding onto something. It could be that.
For the box of some sort.
Yeah. It didn't look like the tank that he was.
No, it looked like a silver box of some sort. But this is, again, that's pretty amazing what he's doing there.
Look at his mouth.
Again, a big cartridge, possibly. And as you mentioned, we don't know what he's vaping necessarily. There's so much we don't know at this point. But the good news is it doesn't appear as if he's armed. You have to operate from the assumption that he is, because he's been willing to use his vehicle to damage and run into things. So, that in itself is a weapon. But again, he is refusing to surrender to authorities as they continue to try to get him out of this vehicle, sitting there on that bike path in Compton.
And it does look like the man we believe is a crisis negotiator is still talking to him. His hands in his pocket. He is gesturing with his hands. So it does look like there's some communication underway. And we hope that this will end sooner rather than later.
So, again, I mean, we don't necessarily know the protocols for this negotiator, how long he will be able to just continue to talk to him, but it's almost as if this person is just, with the power of this high that he is able to, I mean, it is incredible, the pull that can, I mean, think about what he's looking at, and he continues to want to go back to inhaling from that canister. So clearly he is painfully unaware of his surroundings and what's going on due to whatever he is inhaling. And the officers are having to deal with this, trying to make this end safely, because nobody wants this guy to harm himself or be harmed. And at the same time, they want this to end as well. So we're kind of waiting to see what they're going to do. They had to get permission to do a pit maneuver earlier, and they did that multiple times. So again, we can wait as long as the officers can wait as long as he wants, and we're not quite sure how long we want to sit with this, but we'll for now continue to kind of go with it on this. But we did want to mention that again, Tamron Hall. If you are wanting to watch that, it's going to be on. Set your DVRs for 1:06 a.m. here on ABC7, and you will be able to watch that show in its entirety at that time. But right now, it just seems as if sheriff's deputies are willing to wait and see. You do have some discussions going on a little bit further back. We don't see the negotiator there anymore. He stepped away, so he's probably giving his assessment. Meantime, the dog is just laying in the grass, kind of just watching what's happening here. So, again, we've talked about it not being an impact directly to the community unless you're living in one of those houses right around there.
Or along that street.
Yeah, along that street. But he's not blocking any major thoroughfares. And so they can, it is somewhat safe for him as long as he is not armed. The officers are taking their time, and they're going to let him or let the negotiator do their work. And we'll see what he was on the phone with. See if that changes any tactics by what the negotiator walked away and had that conversation with. So we'll see.
Yeah, and again, we are assuming that he's under the influence. I think that is safe to assume, but we don't know what his state of mind was before and what his history is. So this, again, could be a mental health crisis that is unfolding that we are looking at. And so you have to commend law enforcement, with all the recent, interactions we've seen involving law enforcement. We have to commend them for taking their time and taking this slowly and trying to de-escalate the situation and allowing the suspect the time to come to his senses, hopefully.
Well, I don't know that he can come to his senses if he keeps inhaling, and that is unfortunately the challenge they're facing, because that's what he continues to do right there. So they may be trying to talk to their supervisors to find out what the next step is, because there's if he just stays in that truck and continues to inhale, he's going to remain under the influence and is probably going to continue the current bad behavior. And so they might be trying. He might have asked for something. We don't know. And if he did, maybe they're going to go get it for him and bring it to him so that they can say, "Here, look, we have this thing that you asked for. It's yours if you come out." There's no reason why they will want to force him out. If they can get him to come out, for whatever reason, they will hopefully, they want to end this with any further violence or confrontation.
We had some officers move up a little bit closer to the other deputies. I wonder if that indicated anything. And the man, we no longer see the guy who had the hat on.
No, he stepped away on the phone.
He was on the phone, but we no longer see him on the sidewalk.
But that's to my point, as far as we don't know what he said to them, because he might have said, "I'd love a Coke," and maybe they're going to go get him one. I mean, that could be something as simple as that to get him to step away from the vehicle, because it's, clearly forcing him out with tear gas, pepper balls hasn't worked at this point. I mean, it's now 1:54, so we're fully an hour on roughly on the air with this, and most of it has been while he sits here. And again, they have approached the vehicle several times with the shield and several officers. Here he goes again, putting the car in reverse and trying to back up while he inhales. And so the officers have approached the vehicle several times, usually not when he's got it in reverse like he is now, but they have, and they've tried to toss tear gas canisters in there while they pepper sprayed to keep him away from it, but he was able to, grab it and toss it off to the side. We watched at one point. So he has been more than willing to take the less than lethal action and just continue his behavior.
I wonder if we can identify what that first item is that he threw out of that vehicle on the bike path there.
Well, we've zoomed in on it. I don't know. If anybody,
I don't know.
any of our producers know, then that would be a great thing. But we did, he tossed something out. You could see it on the ground there, the bike path. Yeah.
And just the fact that he's still trying to get away and trying to back out of that where he is indicates his state of mind.
Well, and the powerful addiction of inhaling like that, as he continues in this place, that is the thing he wants, is that he continues to inhale. Just shows the strength of that addiction for him. And again, the officers know this; they can see it, and so they. Okay, so we actually have Bruce Thomas with us. Bruce, this must be challenging for officers when they have everything under control, except they can't stop his inhaling and his behavior, which put him in this spot.
Yeah, ultimately you have a myriad of things going on. One is under the influence. Two, every time he revs the engine and backs up and backs into the radio car, you've now escalated a DUI misdemeanor into a possible assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. So they're not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. They're willing to wait him out because it's a safe situation in retrospect.
And I mean, if you can see the shot, you look here, it doesn't seem as if they have negotiated. He stepped away, now he has come back. He has something in his hand. I don't know if that's a cell phone or whatever, but I was making speculation that if he can give him something that's non-threatening, it's not a problem to let him have it. If it'll get, it looks like he's got water. You're trying to just get him to come out of the vehicle, right? Like, I'll give you the water if you come out of the truck.
Correct. It's a negotiation. You know what? You want water? We'll get you water. Give me something. Get out of the vehicle, surrender. No one's going to hurt you. What else can I give you? What else do you want? It's a total negotiating thing.
And it does look as if the man has water, a bottled water in his hand there. I couldn't see that looks to be what the officer in the dark shirt right in the center has. And Bruce, tell us a little bit about being around pepper spray and tear gas like that. I've got to think he is desperate for a drink of water.
Yeah, no, yes, he is, David. His throat is burning, his nostrils are burning, his eyes are burning. So he wants the water to flush his eyes out, maybe to take a sip, swig it around, spit it out. But it's not a good feeling, and so that's why he wants the water. And they're more than happy to give that to him.
Well, did you see what I don't know if you could see that, Giovanna. He tossed the water to him next to that K-ring, which makes me think, he said, well, I'm going to throw it over here to you. You just come over and get it. Now, if he steps out of that vehicle to get the water, Bruce, what are officers going to do?
They're doing swarm technique. Multiple officers, and this is all pre-planned by the supervisor on scene at the terminus of the pursuit. Officer so-and-so, you're going to go in, you're going to swarm them. Middle amount of force, hands up them, we're done.
And so what's the next step if he chooses not to get out and get the water? I mean, you just keep talking to him, I suppose?
At some point, we call K-Tech. You have a canine that's en route or on scene, and they're going to use the canine as a tool, as we've talked about before. They will deploy the canine, it will jump into the vehicle, he will not like that, and he will jump out, and then they'll take him into custody.
So this textbook, their protocol here, how they're handling this is textbook, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, there is no such thing as textbook, but there are plan A, B, and C, and they're doing what they want to do according to the plans they have. They're not going to use deadly force on this individual, obviously. Less lethal force, pepper ball rounds, maybe a less lethal shotgun round to get him to comply, and they are going to use force to take him into custody just because he is not compliant.
Are you surprised that he is not compliant based on how much tear gas and whatever else they've thrown at him?
Yeah, that's a little surprising, but I really can't tell from Air 7 HD how vented the pickup truck is as far as windows open, rear cab window open. But they definitely deployed it, and for him to stay in there, that's, obviously not affected by it.
Yeah, and you've seen a lot of things. Ever seen a suspect with a balloon inhaling this sort of situation?
No, every time we have a pursuit, we tend to think they're all the same, but unfortunately, they're not. And we see something different every time, and this is a new one.
Well, Bruce, we know that you have to go. I want to say thank you for joining us real quickly to get your perspective and see what we can do. That's Bruce Thomas, our law enforcement expert, joining us now as we continue to monitor this pursuit and now standoff. So the officers, you did see a bottled water tossed over. As Bruce mentioned, if you're in a cab with all of that pepper spray, he is going to be parched. His throat's going to be burning. He's going to want something. And they brought him water. But it does appear as if the way they tossed it, maybe about 10 yards away from him, that they had hoped, yes, here's your water, and they tossed it so that he would get out of the vehicle and go get it. He has not, but he has continued to inhale, as you've seen. And it is an unusual, I think the most unusual is the size of the canister. It's certainly not just your something simple. I mean, it is a large canister there, and he is not putting it in a balloon anymore, which is what he was doing during the the chase. That was an unusual sight when we're watching him drive along, and he's got a balloon that he's holding on to, and he's inhaling while he's driving. But then once he stopped, he hasn't been using the balloon. He just periodically will take a breath straight out of the canister.
That's right. And if you're just joining us, likely you tuned in to watch General Hospital. We are following breaking news in Compton, and that's why you're not seeing your show. We'll get you information on when you can see today's episode of General Hospital sometime shortly. But again, we're following breaking news in Compton. This is to the left of your screen. You're watching live pictures of the end of a pursuit that started a little over an hour ago, maybe an hour and 15 minutes ago. Again, in Compton, the driver in that white pickup truck wanted for reckless driving. Deputies following him through Compton, through city streets, and attempting 3 pit maneuvers and dropping 2 spike strips, all of which failed. This driver led them to this scene here near the wash along a bike path. This is on Poplar and I believe Wilmington. And this is what we've been looking at for the last good half hour or so.
Yeah, and one of the things, I keep saying that he drove reasonably, but you did see in that video there, especially with Air 7 HD and its speedometer, he was driving down some narrow residential streets at about 50 miles an hour. So clearly he was recklessly driving. And, then after that, once they were really on him, he just kind of did this, what you're looking at now, almost a measure of a slow speed chase coming to full complete stops. But yeah, they did pit him several times and they laid down spike strips. Oddly enough, the spike strip on the truck didn't seem to have much of effect. It's when he drove himself down into this corner that he was no longer able to go anywhere. And we do think that they put something when they threw one of the tear gas canisters into the cab. We think at some point they shoved something into the wheel well or near the axle there on the front that would keep him from going forward. Then he could only go backwards, which is what he's tried to do a couple of times. And as Bruce Thomas mentioned, that's a felony. He's when he drove his vehicle after being pitted and he drove straight into the vehicle, that too is a felony because it's attempted murder on a police officer or a law enforcement, a peace officer. So yeah, he has tried any number of things and just refuses to give up. It does look like, what are the officers doing there in the house, in the front yard? Maybe they're clearing that home.
Maybe they are trying to evacuate at this point. Maybe kids are coming home from school. What time is it? 2 o'clock?
2:05. Probably still in school for another hour or so. So we'll see. But yeah, you know what? I mean, it may be one of those deals where they need to know where he is. They could potentially approach from that side if they wanted to. It may be harder for them to, I'm not sure why they would, but they at least went over there.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to get access to the front of the pickup truck.
Well, they could come across the sidewalk of the bridge if they wanted. I don't know that they want to be in front of the vehicle, but I do keep using as a litmus test the dog in the front yard. It doesn't seem as if it's a remarkably tense environment. If the dog is not running and barking and bothered, the dog is just casually laying there. So it doesn't seem as if, it just does seem to be that this guy just will not get out of the car. He will not get out of the truck, and the negotiator is back, so he's back talking to him again. We're just not quite sure what's happening in that yard.
It looks like they're perhaps working on putting a plan into place. We don't know. But going back to the balloon and how long he was in that vehicle, inhaling from that balloon, we don't know what was in that balloon. He also has a vape, so we don't know, again, what he has been ingesting. We assume that he's under the influence just based on his behavior, and again, we are assuming that maybe there is some mental health factor at play here. We don't know at this point. But the deputies that you're looking at that are armed, pointing their weapons toward the pickup truck have been there, for quite some time now, and we've seen less lethal. Oh, now we see. Okay, it does appear that they're evacuating his family. Let's go. Yeah, they're taking him out of harm's way.
Which, that could be any reason. They could be taking them out of harm's way, or they may need to go somewhere. They may have been able to poke their head out and say, "We need to leave. We can't stay here. We want to go." And so they're going to get them out of that house, which clearly they were able to do, which is great news. And again, the behavior of this person continues.
It's still inhaling from both the tank and the base.
Well, and again, his throat is just likely raw with the pepper spray and everything, and I'm just amazed that he doesn't get the water. As much as I know, sitting here, as soon as he gets out of the cab of that vehicle and goes get the water, they are going to swarm him. I just am stunned that in his state of mind, probably just dehydrated at a high level, that he doesn't think in some way that he could get it.
What's he drinking? Did they get water to him?
Nope, he does. Yeah, he does have something. He has something, but he doesn't have the. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. So I don't know. He didn't get the water bottle they tossed to him because he hasn't gotten out of the vehicle. So I don't know what that was. If there was any water in it, he might have just. Who knows? But it does look as if, again, there's the negotiator there. He's clearly talking to him. There is a line of communication, but it's more of the same here for an hour now, as he just refuses to get out. And we all know how this is going to end. He'll eventually either be taken out with the canine, or he will step out and they'll swarm him. But this gives us a shot, kind of a different angle as you look into the cab. I can't tell if that to the left is a bunch of different, what that is. Oh, I think that's the pepper spray on the windshield. It's not anything. I thought maybe that was something in the passenger seat, but I believe that's the pepper spray. And it gives us a chance to see that window on the side there, which looked on the passenger side. It looks to be broken, possibly, if I'm not mistaken. And that would also be how they were throwing things in, shooting things in.
Looks like they just shot right through the glass. Maybe, I don't know, would it get through? I don't know. But I thought you were referring to on the ground, the spikes were there. That was the spikes were finally.
That's probably wrapped around his axle. When he drove over it. But no, the front windshield has marks that look as if it's pepper ball residue. But the passenger side window looks as if it's been broken. And remember, we watched multiple times as sheriff's deputies walked up that sidewalk, approached the passenger side, and tossed things in there.
And then we watched when they tossed tear gas in, and then he picked it up and threw it right out.
Picked it up, threw it right out. So he sits. And we saw him wipe his eyes, so we know he's at some point affected by it. But I'm just continue to be stunned that he has not shown much in the way of impact of all of that tear gas, pepper spray that's in the cab of that vehicle. It just is mind-boggling that he's able to just continue to sit through it.
He doesn't seem to be in distress right now, and that could be because he's under the influence of whatever he's been ingesting.
Certainly that plays a role. We do know that down the bike path on the right of our screen, there used to be sheriff's deputies there. We saw them kind of back away, and they're not there now. And then the other side, too. You've got to think that significantly further down both directions of that bike path, there are officers that are keeping people from even approaching it. So my guess is that if you were to go down the bike path, you're going to see it blocked off because can you imagine somebody's using the bike path and they come upon this? accidentally. So you're not getting anywhere near this if you happen to go in that neighborhood.
Right, and even on the other side, if they're coming to pull out again, I think I saw a patrol car down to the left on another street, closing off that street so people could not get through. Yeah, indeed. So at least they're blocking people there as well. People from accessing that area as well.
And that's the thing that can, you know, if you're the suspect, you I don't know what you think that you're going to escape, or if you're just waiting, if your addiction is such that you don't care, that you want to continue to sit here like this. But there is no escape from this, and I can't imagine that escape is necessarily on his mind right now. It's the only thing it seems to be on his mind is a failure to comply, because he hasn't done much other than periodically back up when the mood strikes.
He is a stubborn one, and the man that we believe was a crisis negotiator, or hostage negotiator, as you were calling him, he has backed away. It seemed like there was some communication, and then he walked away. Maybe there was another message exchanged, another request that he is now trying to make happen.
Well, we periodically see new officers come up. We're now seeing the man in the blue shirt there. He's come up. Generally speaking, it's been the same folks there the whole time, but, you know, it can be remarkably tense, so I'm assuming that they kind of rotate in and out so that one person doesn't get overwhelmed, and there are, I think Bruce Thomas said it best, there's no, playbook for something like this, but there certainly are plans A, B, C, and D, and I do think there is a general MO of how to handle these things, and that's maybe why we continue to see new people come in. But as you mentioned, Giovanna, the crisis negotiator was clearly somebody who, when they came in, everything was different for that person as he was talking to this person. And several times, twice at least, we've seen him walk away. Both times he was on the phone when he walked away, so we don't know if he's going to get something or if he's just not there anymore.
And then Bruce Thomas also mentioned the canine possibly being brought in. I'm not sure if he said that he knew for a fact that they had already called in a canine, or if that's part of the protocol at times in these situations.
And now we've got a couple of people, and the officers are basically, I think, now that they're out of the front yard, telling them to either stay in the house or come on and leave the area. My assumption is once you leave that area, you're not getting back in until this is over. So you kind of have your choice, I would assume, because you're now technically within a crime scene once they put that tape up. And so, people have their lives, and we talked about not having much of an impact to the area at large. It's clearly impacting the people who live in these houses right here.
And it does look like they are encouraging the people to perhaps consider leaving. Or maybe they're asking about what's behind the home, and if there's some access to the bike path.
Well, clearly they don't want to put them in harm's range, and you're right. They may be just saying, look, you're going to have to exit a different way. I don't know. I mean, we can't know, but the main thing is officers are not going to put any people at risk, and the way this person behaves, I mean, he's not going anywhere, but at the same time, you just want to remove the variables. You just don't want accidents to happen.
And we don't know if we've seen this before. He could exit the vehicle with something that appears like a weapon in his hands, and that escalates the situation, and law enforcement has to feel that they have to fire you. We just don't know.
Well, the one thing that is likely is that there were so many people that approached the passenger side to throw the tear gas in. They're going to know if they saw a weapon. So you're right, he could get out of the vehicle and do something unsafe, but they have so much more knowledge now on what he's doing, what he has, what's in that truck, because at least twice they have walked up to the passenger side with multiple officers and been able to see inside the vehicle. So if he has a weapon, they know it. If it's likely he doesn't, they also know that. There's no guarantees right now. But by being able to walk up and look into the cab of the vehicle, they know a lot more about what they have to face. We're seeing a couple more people now leave the area, and the officers, every time somebody has come out, the officers have directly gone over and spoken to them and either escorted them out or taken them back into their...
That's probably the problem. They've probably been trying to reach these people, maybe look up telephone numbers to get, because all these homes have gates, who knows? They're probably trying to get rid of, not rid, but make contact with the homeowners here and have them leave. The other process that I'm thinking might be happening is maybe the crisis negotiator, again, speculation, has asked him for his name. Maybe they're trying to reach his family. Maybe they're trying to get someone down to the scene that can persuade him to exit the car.
Very possible. When you mention that, the one thing that strikes me that we haven't seen, a cell phone. We haven't seen him try to talk to anybody. We haven't seen him do anything like that. It has primarily been his inhaling of whatever substance he has in that canister, that large canister, and he's taken it straight out of the canister, and we have seen him inhale it out of a balloon. So he has been incapable so far of stopping that behavior. And it seems as if that's the driving factor for him to stay there right now, because he's not been given anything. It doesn't seem as if he's made any demands, but he has not stopped his consumption. And that seems to be a motivating factor for him every single, every few minutes he inhales.
Right, and to the right of your screen, again, you're looking at his behavior earlier when he was trying to back out of his position there and trying to drive and move that deputy vehicle behind him. And we have seen him, rev his engine a few times, and we've seen the smoke several times, and he still continues. He's not doing it at the moment, but not that long ago he was trying. And the danger there is that he could spark some flames.
Oh well, if you do enough with the tires, you could set the tire on fire, and that would be something that
another problem.
That would be another problem altogether. So, but yeah, he continues to inhale. He continues to go back to the canister, and officers continue to keep weapons drawn on him. Most of them are the less than lethal variety, but certainly they have the option there. If it goes to that level, there are any number of weapons pointed on this person. You see, the neighborhood is overwhelmed with law enforcement. Now, there we go. We haven't seen that lately. A sheriff's deputy has driven a vehicle onto the bike path. Not sure. It doesn't look as if they can get past that obstruction there on the bike path. Don't know if there's something in the other direction doing the same. But that vehicle right there, yeah. So there's nowhere to go in either direction on the bike path. And the thing is, nobody can get on the bike path. That, I think, is probably what we're looking at this particular point, is that officers don't want an innocent person to hop on a bike path as they would every afternoon, maybe at 2:20 in the afternoon, and start riding on that bike path. They don't want them just coming up on this guy who could potentially hurt them.
So again, we have been following this since what, 1:40?
Well, we started. We started just before 1 o'clock.
Yes.
It was right about 12:54, right about that time.
Started as a reckless driving pursuit in the Compton area, and we're still in the Compton area. The driver of that pickup truck you see there, leading sheriff's deputies through several city streets, refusing to stop. They conducted 3 pit maneuvers, and the driver was still able to get away, and they laid down 2 spike strips as well. But to your point, the point you were making earlier, he hasn't been driving at high speeds. He has been driving dangerously because he drove in the opposite direction of traffic, and you see him there crossing to the other side of the street. That's clearly dangerous, but no super high speeds.
And the most serious offense, that we've seen, and it is serious indeed, is, attempted murder of a peace officer. That right there, that you're looking at the video there, is, any number of incidents where he did that. You can't drive the vehicles directly at the officers. When he put it in reverse and backed into the officers, that too, Bruce Thomas said, qualifies as a potential felony, whereas before it was reckless driving. And that, misdemeanor, this is not. And more than anything, my assumption is that he is immediately going to need assistance for the substance abuse. So, that's they know he's not of right mind, and they're just wanting to get him some help and end this without any further confrontation.
And now we see to the left of your screen. Oh, this is where he crossed the spike strip is right there. He stopped, and then
our negotiator is back. It looks as if he's got something written down, or a piece of paper, or something in his hand. Not sure what it is, but yeah, you mentioned it continues to be the same behavior. He leaves, and then comes back with something. One time it was a bottle of water, and this time we're not quite sure what he's brought back, but clearly they're trying everything to just convince this person to get out of the vehicle. And from this perspective, you can't tell.
You can't tell what. It doesn't appear that he's talking to you at this point.
Well, the one thing that we have on our side is that our negotiator seems to be a very non-verbal talker. In other words, he whenever he's talking, we can see him use his hands. So we know that he's talking to him. So he's pointing to things. He said, well, I think he probably said there's a bottle of water right there, because that's where he had thrown the bottle of water. And I think that if you listen to Bruce Thomas, that's what this is about right now. This guy is wanting water, and I think the crisis negotiator is telling him that there's water right there. So as
hard to see, but yeah, you could tell that he's talking based on his hand movements. But he's wearing that hat, so we can't see his face. But he's doing his job, just to
engage
and try to make this guy comfortable enough to talk to him and maybe share some details of himself and why he's doing this, and maybe, as you mentioned, give him whatever they can to provide him some comfort, enough so that it'll persuade him to come out of the vehicle.
Well, I wonder, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've not seen him inhale nearly as recently as we were seeing before. There is the possibility at some point he runs out of whatever he has been using, and at some point he's going to start getting a state of mind that's more effective for them to communicate with him. I do see a couple of officers there mustering up behind the negotiator, but other than the negotiator, pretty much everything has continued to be about the same. So I don't know if it looks as if that's a SWAT officer there behind. I don't know if that means they're going to make use the K9 unit. I haven't seen K9 to see how we've got 2 other officers coming forward. It looks to me like they're SWAT. So I don't know if this is going to be a change of tactics where they're going to take a little bit more of an aggressive approach to get him out. But they still have some options before them. When Bruce was mentioning the K9 unit, there's so much pepper spray, so much tear gas in the cab. I don't know how that would impact the dog. So before he had left, I wanted to ask him if that plays a role, or if the dogs are trained to manage that. I don't know, but it does seem as if that might be a reasonable thing as to why you might not use the canine unit, because there's so much pepper spray in there. But these are new officers that we've seen behind. They might just be getting some perspective themselves about what they have in front of them. They might be interviewing the officers to find out what they saw in that cab. But it does seem as if that's a new piece of the puzzle.
Also new, we have a crew on the ground there, and that is what you're looking at. To the right of your screen, that's a live picture from one of our cameras. We believe that's, behind those deputy vehicles, where all of the officers are armed, pointing their guns or weapons towards the pickup truck. You can see the gate that we're looking at and the bridge. So yeah, that looks to be his pickup truck in the front.
Yeah, that crew on the ground is directly behind what you're looking at there. They are just up the street. We saw the yellow tape a moment ago, so Air 7 HD is able to get you a shot inside the crime scene, and our ground crew is just outside that crime scene too. So, if we get a chance, they might be able to talk to some of those residents who are leaving, but we are going to be able to continue to let you know how this all resolves itself. Because it will. At some point, it is going to, and again, we mentioned General Hospital is going to air later. As we continue to follow this, Tamron Hall is going to be on at 1:06 a.m., so you're not going to miss your shows. But for this community in Compton, they are going to want to know how this is going to resolve itself and when it's going to resolve itself as we approach time for a lot of kids to be getting out of school and starting to go home. And there is a heavy law enforcement presence in this neighborhood. You can see all of the sheriff's cars, and that's just in this shot. They are across the wash. They are down the bike path. They are blocking streets up above that you can see there. So they are surrounding this area. So many people in this area are going to want to know what's happening. And this has been going on now for in excess. That's almost 2 hours now since this person was initially tried to be pulled over for reckless driving.
They're taking every precaution to keep the community safe, and we've seen some activity here on the other side of the wash, some people gathering here. I wonder, we're not sure if that's related, but
well, they don't want them approaching that bridge.
Yeah.
You saw them getting the crime scene tape out, so they're probably pulling the crime scene tape again. Again, you're just trying to keep people from getting in that line of fire. And at risk. See, the officer pulled it. Yeah, they're not wanting them to walk next to the wash on that side because that puts them right next to the bridge. And if you think about it, they want to go across that bridge. That bridge is there because it's probably a heavily trafficked area to get back and forth across the wash, and they can't. And you can understand why sheriff's deputies don't want them to, because there are guns pointed right at the mouth of the bridge, and so you just can't put people at risk due to this person's behavior.
And the other thought that is that he may be a Compton resident. The pursuit, he stayed in Compton. He was on any freeways. He seemed to be comfortable with the streets, the lay of the land there. So he might be a resident, and we don't know if anybody who might know him, watching this, might be coming to the scene, and so maybe someone that knows him is trying to intervene. There seems to be some conversations in that where we saw that the last grouping of people. We don't know. It's all speculation. These are some of the things that we've seen in the past.
I'm not sure why the officer is pulling back on that SUV, the second one there. That was the one that seemed to drive over the spike strip when they were pulling up to bump into the back of the first SUV there. So maybe, he did. It's a flat tire. So they have flattened the tire there. And I don't necessarily know what is needed to move other than maybe they're just wanting to move that vehicle out of the way, but they are repositioning it, and that vehicle, actually what had happened was he had tried to push that SUV out of the way, and just as a precaution they backed a second police car, sheriff's vehicle, up against the rear bumper. But when they did that, they actually ran over the spike strip that had been laying down to prevent the suspect from getting away, and they flattened their own tire because they couldn't pull it out of the way. We do want to mention, just again, we mentioned the housekeeping note just a moment ago, but because of this pursuit stand-up coverage, Tamron Hall is at 106. General Hospital will re-air at 2:06 a.m. Clearly, you're not probably staying up that late if you're up this hour, but you can set your DVR, but you will not miss the episodes. 106 for Tamron Hall, 2:06 for General Hospital. They will be aired in their entirety because we've been staying with this so that we can make sure that this community of Compton knows what's going on at this particular stand-up.
And again, the video that you are watching to the right of your screen that's live, it's not video, it's live. It's from our camera on the scene there, and you see the sheriff's deputies congregating there. They're just on the left side of your screen. You can see where they are standing. That's the wider picture, and to the right is from the ground crew. So you can see that they're just trying to figure this out and trying to persuade this suspect to turn himself in. We know that we believe there is a crisis negotiator there. In the live picture on the left, you can see that he is again gesturing his hands, trying to communicate or communicating with that driver. Again, just trying to put a stop to this before it escalates into something worse, but it does look like authorities are taking their time with this. There is no rush. They have evacuated, we think. We've seen residents leave, be escorted out of their homes. So we think that was an evacuation, an intentional evacuation. And we've seen that they've closed off streets in the community on the other side of the wash, and there is law enforcement on either side of that bike path. So they're doing everything they can to establish a perimeter and keep the community here safe. But in the meantime, this suspect is being very stubborn. He is not giving in.
Well,
they tried to throw water at him, and he was not falling for that either. He won't leave the vehicle.
Well, and as you mentioned, the negotiator is there. And again, we have watched as he continues to inhale from a canister that I believe is still under his left arm, but I can't see it for sure. And it seems to me that it's been a bit since we've actually seen him inhale whatever he has in the canister. I think there for a time he was continually going back to it. He does have the vape still. He is still vaping, but periodically we would see him with the blue canister, and it is not a small canister. It is a larger one, but I just can't tell if that's what he's doing now, because we don't have quite the tight shot we had a moment ago. But it's just one of those deals where if they can separate him from his intake, from whatever is causing, whatever is putting him under the influence, if they can separate him from that, I feel like they have a chance to get him out of there. But if he continues to alter his own mental state, then this is just going to continue to do exactly. We're just going to continue to see the exact same thing.
Well, they fired tear gas and pepper balls several times, and that didn't seem to affect him much. I mean, we did see him wipe his face, and he was in distress for a minute, but he has stayed put. This is the video on the right that I was referring to when they sort of approached the vehicle. There's the pepper spray, we believe, and or tear gas. And
see right there, he grabs it.
Is this the time that he?
No, that's the first time. I believe he.
The second time they threw it into the actual.
No, they threw it in. I just think he leaned over and got it and might have just put it right back into the back of his pickup. Is what I'm saying. Each time they throw it in there, he grabs it and tosses it.
Yeah. Another time he actually picked it up, threw it up.
Now, one thing that I've noticed here, if you look at the live shot there on your left, the sheriff's vehicle that was moved because of the flat tire, not cut because of, but in spite of the backfire. You see the SWAT team, they're talking to the negotiator. So he's going to be giving them all of the information they need in the event that they want to, go in and talk to them. You saw that he was briefing them. Now you see him on the phone walking away. So he's going to be providing all of the information that his expertise can provide to people who are going to make the decision as to the next step for these officers. Because the good news on this is that this can be a very measured approach for deputies. They can take steps that are going to protect the person and the community and the officers. And this negotiator, this person who's been talking to him, is basically picking his brain. I mean, he's talking to him, he's trying to get him to end it, but he's also taking a read. He's also asking him about, what he's been doing, why he's here, what's happening, and all of those things are going to play into their decision as to what's next and what will be required to end this. I don't like to say peacefully, because peacefully would not have this in the first place, but less confrontation. It would be, whenever they can end this without anybody getting hurt, that is what they really want.
And we see the crisis negotiator, again, this is all speculation, but I think it's safe to say he's there to de-escalate the situation and persuade him to come out. We see him on the phone, so maybe there's another request that he has made, and he is holding something. We don't know what that is. Hard to know. This process could take a long time.
Well,
it already is taking a long time.
It has, but you can't really. To me, it's a reasonable thing. Why not wait? There's no harm to anyone right now. All of the folks that needed to leave their homes have left their homes, and they've gotten out. If that was what they needed to do, or if deputies needed to move them out for their own safety, either way. The people who live in those homes that we can see there, they at least there were a couple with their child, and there were 3 other people. So we've seen 5, 6 people, 7 people leave those 2 houses. We've not seen anyone move out of the house where the dog is in the front yard. But again, the person just continues to use whatever substance he has been using, and it is. You just don't know when he's going to stop that, if he's going to run out at any point and stop it. But he's been vaping quite a bit. He also has the canister, which some people have told us it might be nitrous oxide. It could be anything that is in that canister. So, but he is inhaling it, which clearly we don't, has put him in a place of instability. So now here comes the negotiator again. He's coming back, and he's written some things down, it does appear. So maybe he's just taking his own notes, but now, you notice the hand on the shoulder. He's going to tell him, I'm here, and he's going to start talking again. So if he has something in his hand, something that is black there that's in his hand, could be a phone. Maybe that's what he's going to be able to provide. But clearly he has tried to engage with the guy again.
And again, you and I have so little information, we have to speculate a bit, but maybe he was talking to family, maybe he's getting some details that, some specific words that might trigger the suspect to cooperate. Maybe a message from a mother or a father or a sibling. Again, we don't know what's involved here. But it does seem like this crisis negotiator is trying to communicate and persuade him.
Well, he is talking to him. It doesn't seem like the guy's listening. But he's almost looking into the rearview mirror, and he could at some point pass out. He could just get tired and fall asleep. I mean, you look at him, and I mean, he's not behaving as he was when we first started the standoff, when he was hanging out of the window, repeatedly inhaling over and over and over. And if in some way he is coming down off of his high, this could be, and that is if, this could be the moment where officers are able to reach him as person to person and convince him to come on out. But if he continues
to go back to the addiction, I think it's going to be really difficult for him and for them to get him to come out, because I don't see what would change his behavior at this point.
And again, if you are just joining us, it is now 2:41. We're following breaking news in Compton, the end of a police pursuit. Sheriff's deputies in pursuit of the driver in that pickup truck you see there, sort of in the middle of your screen. And you likely tuned in to watch General Hospital, and if that's the case, we can tell you that you can watch today's show at 2:06 a.m. here on ABC7. And if you missed Cameron Hall, her show will air, was it at 1:06 a.m.?
Cameron 106, General Hospital
1:06,
206.
and General Hospital at 2:06. But right now, again, we continue to follow this breaking news, and we've been following this still since about 1 o'clock, so going on 2 hours here. The driver of this pickup truck driving through streets recklessly, we are told that is the reason why authorities tried to get him to stop, and he was evading authorities there, deputies, and they tried 3 times to stop him with a pit maneuver, and they laid a few spike strips as well. That did not work. He ended up at the end of Poplar and Wilmington. That's where we had the live pictures to the left of your screen. That's what's happening right now. But to the right, you're seeing that effort to get this driver to stop. At that point, they were hard to say what street they were on at that point, but you can see several deputy patrol vehicles behind the pickup truck. And he seemed to stop at lights. You know, he seemed to obey most of the traffic laws and wasn't speeding too terribly fast. But he certainly was not listening to officers and would not stop. And they did have to, engage 3 times with a pit maneuver, and he kept going. And we do have some video of one incident of that pit maneuver where he just weaved through several cars, several deputies to get out, and actually drove through a divider or over a divider to get away from them. So that is what we've been following, but for the last good 35-40 minutes, he has been here at the end of this street where there is a wash. And there's been very little activity, although authorities have been firing tear gas and pepper balls and trying to communicate with him. Authorities have also evacuated some residents from the street. And here we are.
With no real change in behavior. So we appreciate everybody bearing with us here. Again, we have the ground shot. We have Air 7 HD, and we have reporters in the neighborhood trying to get the latest on this. We're now approaching 3 o'clock here before too long, and it's about we're coming up on 2:45, and we just don't know how this is going to end. I don't see this ending quickly in the sense that the person hasn't changed their behavior at all. He's just sitting there, and the officers, it does seem as if the SWAT team officers are there in the event they might be needed. But right now, you still see the person trying to engage and talk to him. I've just never seen, never say never. I mean, people have just stayed in their car for any length of time. We've done it over the years. So this is nothing that officers haven't seen before. I don't know that I've ever seen someone just continue to inhale and continue to use the substances that put them in a place, that made them make irrational decisions. I mean, this person has just continued to inhale whatever substance was in their canister. Maybe nitrous oxide, maybe who knows what he would use. I don't know. And we don't know what it was, but he continued, and he hasn't, I don't know if it's just gone or not, but he hasn't used it in a bit, but he does continue to vape, that's for sure.
Yes, and I'm not sure if you mentioned the white balloon. I forgot to mention that in my recap, but he did have a white balloon throughout that pursuit that he was huffing from, inhaling from, and so that's what authorities likely saw. It's what we saw several times. The balloon would deflate and then inflate, and then then he had the tank that you mentioned, Philip. And here again, to the right of your screen, you see one of the pit maneuvers, or the one where he just weaved right through those deputy vehicles. And I believe he crossed the divider there.
It does seem as if
continued on.
Yeah, it does seem as if this is in the hands now of the negotiator. You see, they have all of the tools they need there to do whatever they need to do. But it does seem to me as if they are just willing to let the negotiator do what he needs to do. Not sure where what Air 7 is looking at, but that I think is the sheriff's helicopter possibly. And so we know they have been above the scene for quite some time as well. But they have all of the tools there. But if you notice that the SWAT team officers seem to be just milling about, kind of waiting. They've been briefed. The negotiator continues to talk to them. I'm trying to, as I look at Air 7, if we can maybe go to the negotiator, okay, or look in tight on that guy. Negotiator has stepped away again. If you see him off to the side, so he has stepped away, and it looks as if we've got new people. There's the shot there from the ground, and they're going to be communicating with superiors to find out what you would like to do. He's going to tell them everything that he gathers by talking to the person, and then they will decide if more force is necessary to end this. Are they ready to end it, or do we want to keep going and keep letting it play out? They're going to explore all options, and we might just be here watching and waiting with you guys as they do it.
And that is a better alternative, isn't it? It is better that they take their time and that they are methodical and that they try everything to persuade him to surrender without any confrontation, without any violence, without anyone being hurt. He doesn't seem to be upset at all or in any kind of distress, despite the tear gas and the pepper ball. But again, as we've been saying, he's been under the influence, we assume, and that might be the reason why he is so calm.
Well, and he continues to watch them. It looks as if in the rearview mirror, and so he is just kind of waiting on them. I'm not sure if he has asked for something, but it also might be a tactic on their part to just not engage anymore. Just let him sit there and see what he's going to do. Because again, as you mentioned, time is on the side of the officers. They're not needing to rush the vehicle because he's not doing anything. At some point, you're going to want to let people start going back home. So they're going to have to either use a canine or approach him as they have done in the past and just take him out of there by force. But also, if he stops using the substances that he was using,
but right now
at some point,
he's still ingesting substance.
For sure, but we don't. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the canister, that massive canister that he was using. And I don't know if is that what he's got in his hand there.
It's hard to tell.
I can't really tell, but at some point, if he stops doing anything other than maybe vaping nicotine, he will begin to sober up, and he will probably walk out. So there's the possibility that might be, let's just disengage, he'll stop eventually and come out. I mean, who knows? We don't know what their tactics are. They're not talking to us, but they're talking to each other. And there's certainly, that even looks like a different negotiator now. There's one with a hat, and this one does not have a hat. So it does seem as if, they're both there. The guy in the hat's behind, and it looks as if another guy, so they may be both talking to him now. Because they're both wearing a different kind of shirt. The black polo. But it doesn't look as if this is the negotiator walking on the. If you look there to the right, that is the initial person who was talking to him, and he has walked away from there.
Well, actually,
no, you're right. Yeah. I'm sorry. You're right.
Both of them standing side by side. But I want to get to Bruce Thomas. He's joining us once again. Bruce, I'm not sure if you have watched what's transpired here, which hasn't been much really. We're still sort of in the same place as the last time we spoke to you. But any other thoughts or insight on this?
We've seen now, as we've seen the Special Enforcement Bureau, the SWAT guys have now responded. The big helicopter you saw was Air 5, which probably brought some additional assets into the situation. And SWAT is going to take over the operations. At this point, it is a wait and see, but at some point, this is going to have to change.
Do you tell in is the negotiator, will he tell him you have a couple options here, or will they just come and surprise him and use measures that don't let him know what's coming?
Yeah, you don't want to lose anything you're going to do, such as the use of force. However, they are going to tell him, look, you are going to ultimately end up going to jail. Why don't we just end this whole thing? We got you water, we got you things you wanted, got you a phone maybe to call relatives. Let's end this. Let's all go home.
I will say, Bruce, I haven't seen them actually give him anything like that. So, I mean...
I think when I think David was talking about earlier, they tossed water to him, I think.
Yes. Yeah, we saw them toss water, but I've not seen him...
I think Bruce was saying just in general, sometimes they'll give a phone. We haven't seen any evidence of that, but maybe we missed it. Hard to know. But also, I was thinking, is it likely that they're trying to reach his family, and maybe get their help to de-escalate this?
Yeah, that's entirely possible. You run the license plate, send somebody to the house, maybe hopefully that is a good address that they can talk to. Somebody there and say, look, why don't you come with us? Let's take you to the scene of this situation, and maybe you can talk to them. They're going to use every tool in their bag.
And it does look as if the SWAT guys continue to talk to the negotiators. What do you think they're trying to learn from the people who are talking directly to him?
Well, one of the things that they want to get is this person's state of mind. And like, that's kind of a dumb question. No, is he rational? Is he irrational? We know he's been intoxicated, he's been using drugs. So at this point, if you feel he's gone as far as you can go, meaning the crisis negotiator, the CNT team, then at that point the SWAT guys will say, okay, we've gone as far as we can, now we will put our plan in place.
Well, Bruce, I don't know if you can see the camera shot, but they have changed some tactics that I would like to know what you think. Every officer has pulled back except for now. It does seem the SWAT guys are moving closer. Even they moved forward, and they're all of the regular, I want to call them regular deputies, short of knowing what I should call them appropriately, they pulled back. There's no one around the vehicle anymore, and it does appear as if SWAT is, in your words, taking control here. Is that what I'm seeing when I see everybody stepping back from the vehicle?
Yeah, what they are formulating, ideally when they move the other patrol car back, they want to bring the Bearcat in to lock the suspect's vehicle in, but in this case they can't because, as we've seen before, the suspect puts the pickup truck in reverse, smokes the tires, and backs into that patrol car. So they don't want to give him that out, but yes, the SWAT guys have replaced all the regular patrol deputies on the scene, and at this point it's a SWAT operation.
And what would they do next, do you think?
Well, the SWAT guys come with various tools. The less lethal, the pepper balls, the tear gas rounds that they've had before. Maybe even asking to deploy the robots, deploy Andros, like we saw on the LAPD operation earlier, where they want to try to get up to the vehicle and put a flashbang in. Maybe something to that extent so that the suspect just jumps out of that vehicle, they can do a swarm technique and take him into custody.
We saw deputies escort some residents, but they have been using the property quite a bit going through there. Is it likely that they're strategizing to have some sort of activity? Maybe I'm speculating, I don't know, but maybe have access the vehicle from that property? Or, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, Giovanna, that's a great question, a great thought. Ideally, when you have an operation like this, even though we believe the suspect was not armed, you want to take the normal citizenry, the normal residents, take them out of the problem, so they've asked them to leave voluntarily. And like you said, use the property as a vantage point, maybe to see inside the vehicle, to gain a fire position if possible. So, yeah, those are all things that are transpiring.
Okay.
Why would you not, since you have such access to this guy, we've seen them approach him through the passenger side multiple times, why would you not use a flashbang? It seems as if with all of the pepper spray, and here we come with the cat that you were talking about, but why would you not just toss one of those stun grenades in there? Would it potentially cause him more harm than necessary?
Yeah, great thought. Yeah, great thought. You're inducing an explosive, basically, into a very small cabin of a vehicle, and that can cause the cabin to catch fire, which becomes another problem for the officers. And also, you can injure the suspect. And ultimately, and I know this is counterintuitive when I say it, but we're not here to hurt the suspect. We want to end this in a peaceful manner with a minimal amount of force being used.
And Giovanna's going to step out, and Colleen Sullivan is going to join us as we're approaching Eyewitness News at 3 o'clock. I'm Philip Palmer, and we are watching Breaking News. We're talking with Bruce Thomas right now as the sheriff's deputies bring in the SWAT. Is this with this situation, he's not really impacting the community at large. He's not hurt himself yet. And as you mentioned, you don't want to cause any harm. How long can you wait on something like this? And what would be the impetus to say, okay, enough is enough, as we see deputies approach right now?
Well, I think we've been on this for almost 2 hours now. And the fact that you just said, it's not impacting the public per se, it's not in the main street, but you are seeing the deputies approach, and I fully believe that there's going to be a resolution on this, that they're going to have to go in, open up the door, drag this guy out, and take him into custody. At this point, I think they've waited long enough.
Well, we see the SWAT officers approach so that they could take something out of that sheriff's vehicle, and then now they are retreating again. So it is interesting. He turns around and watches. But what also is interesting is that he's monitoring them by looking in his rearview mirror that is there on the side of the driver's side. When they come from that other side, it's a lot harder for him to see what they're doing, because you can just see he's looking in that rearview mirror, and then when they start coming from the other side, it's not he can't look everywhere at the same time. So it is interesting how they approach in different manners, never in the same way. And they do have the negotiator, when he's talking, he's always over there to our screen right.
Yeah, Philip, what I thought they might have were going to do was get a driver into that sheriff's patrol car and swap it out with the Bearcat, which gives them a tactical advantage to look down into the vehicle, fire protection sort of, but they may not be able to do that, but I thought that was what they were going to do.
Well, they you know what, Bruce, I mean, they still could, because I'm not quite sure from our on the ground shot where the Bearcat was, but they still have the possibility of moving the disabled sheriff's vehicle, which we've seen, the one that is perpendicular to the scene. That one's got a flat tire. They ran over the spike strip with the second vehicle we see there. So they could be moving it out. It does look as if, Bruce, they positioned that so that there's a better protection for the officers as they're mustering there, and they can approach a little more safely in that circumstance. But, I mean, they would have to move. You couldn't use the Bearcat with that vehicle still there, right? I mean, you can't say, there it is. Okay, there we see the Bearcat. But they can't get it until they move that other vehicle out of the way.
As a supervisor, I'd be like, okay, it's got a flat tire. You know what? Let's just move it. Let's move it. Let's get the Bearcat in position. Let's put our plans into place.
Yeah, hi, Bruce Thomas, Colleen Sullivan join you. As always, always, thank you for giving us your insight in on this one, because we've been watching this for quite some time where that driver really does not look like he is in any rush to get out of that pickup truck. But again, Philip said something a while back, about 45 minutes ago, and he said, you had touched on it earlier that they, police use their canines as another tool of getting suspects to surrender. But because of all the pepper spray and tear gas and possibly whatever this person is also consuming, would a canine not be really an option because it might be too dangerous?
Great point. I won't use the word dangerous. I'll say more of a hindrance to the dog as a distraction of the pepper ball and the tear gas in that vehicle. That may not be a viable option at this point. However, as the vehicle rents itself with the windows open, that now comes back into play. And as we've talked about before, canines are another tool. Yes, it looks pretty bad when a canine goes into a situation like that. Unfortunately, they bite the suspect. But ultimately, it's a pain compliance type of fight. In other words, if you stop fighting, the dog stops fighting. That's what they're trained for.
And here comes the Bearcat.
Yeah, you can see a lot of activity.
Now he's approaching, and we'll see what happens with the somewhat disabled vehicle. They were able to move it, but it does have a flat tire there on the front, we think, because it did look as if he drove over the spike strip, and then it doesn't immediately cause a problem, but it will cause it to go flat, and it didn't look like it was going flat. So now they have further resources in place. And Bruce, I like what you said, the vantage point of being able to look down on the vehicle. When they approached and they threw the tear gas into the passenger side, is there an officer, because we saw they had 4 or 5 officers coming up, is there one officer whose job is to kind of watch the interior to identify anything that might be in there that could be used as a weapon? Do you have individual assignments in that manner so that you can try to get more information out of the cab of that vehicle?
Yes, great point. As a supervisor, I'm on scene. I am orchestrating what is going on. I am telling Deputy Smith, you're going to deploy the tear gas. Deputy Jones, you have cover of the vehicle. In other words, you are the one with less lethal or lethal covering our personnel as we do our plan. Yeah, it's all very orchestrated, very planned out, and they have a discussion before they take action.
Yeah, you can certainly see there's obviously a lot of choreographed pieces being put in position here to get this suspect to surrender. But again, when we see this sort of behavior of the suspect, yes, of course they were involved in a pursuit, but now that they're sitting here and they're not doing anything, it certainly, we have seen very active neighborhoods when there's a really active pursuit. We've seen them quite often lately. But then we see this gentleman who is sitting in his car, and he is going to get taken into custody, but it just seems like they're trying to figure out how to get him into custody without obviously injuring him or any officers. And what do you think? What the Bearcat? It's going to go beside it. How is this going to give a better vantage point for the officers, since the officers seem to keep going right next to this vehicle with a shield?
Yeah, ultimately what they're going to do is they're going to swap out the Bearcat for that patrol vehicle, which is at the rear of the pickup truck. The problem lies with a very narrow street with cars on both sides, and you have a very big vehicle. The Bearcat is a heavy-duty armored vehicle. And when they move that patrol car, does that now cause the suspect to put the vehicle back in gear and back up, endangering the officers? Or are they going to try to deploy a spike strip to the rear or something like that?
Well, I have not seen him inhaling recently until now. And he is, because Air 7 looks away periodically, but for a minute I had hoped that maybe he had run out of whatever substance that he had been inhaling, but you saw just a moment ago that he did still have it. There's 2 Bearcats there now, Bruce, so even if they do pull him, that may be one reason why all of the patrol officers remove themselves, is because they are going to move this vehicle, and they do know he's going to probably take off backwards, but he's not going anywhere with this Bearcat. They had two of them. So he can't, even if he did run into some other people because he's going backwards, he can't really steer it, because we saw something, either a rod or maybe the spike strip that's wrapped around the wheels on the other side. We can't see it right now. You can just see a slight bit of it on the ground there from the passenger side. So there is something that's disabled his vehicle as far as being able to steer or move. So he's not going anywhere. I mean, I'm surprised they had two Bearcats in this close quarters.
Yeah, but however, that is how our special enforcement bureau rolls. It is a SWAT call out, and so they will roll multiple Bearcats out in addition to other resources. They may even roll out a command post if they believe it's going to be a protracted operation.
Doesn't it kind of seem like it is a protracted operation right now, Bruce? We've been on this for quite some time. We've been on air for about 2 hours. It started just before 1 o'clock with a driving recklessly, and obviously probably you could see there on the right hand side the pursuit taking place, but the driver, Philip, correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't seem like they were taking really chancy driving, erratically, really, where we've seen erratic, where you're holding your breath and biting your nails.
That was the thing that has separated this chase from others. Yes, there were reckless moments, but they generally came from pit maneuvers. And I'm not saying that the pit maneuver was incorrect. I'm just saying that's when the driver was most reckless, was trying to get away from the pit. Like this scene right here that you're watching, he sat at that intersection for the duration of the light until he got the arrow. Then when he went forward, they pitted him, trying to get him to stop, and he just kept driving away. This is a moving example of what's happening right now, in the sense that he just won't do what they're telling him to do. He would stop at stop signs. He would drive through intersections reasonably, but he was not going to stop. And now here he is, and he just simply refuses to get out of the vehicle.
Yeah, the three pit maneuvers on this pickup truck, and this driver seems to be able to kind of get away. And then Bruce, when you see, this driver's facing, so many charges at this point. But when the police get involved and then they do the pit maneuver, does he get charged for any sort of? I mean, they have to start trying to figure out what charges does this person actually face, because he was obviously driving erratically, and now you see him. We don't know what suspect. He could just have a nicotine, vape. People smoke like that as well. So we don't really know what substance, if this driver is under any substance. But again, police are able to sort of ascertain exactly what's going on because they've been on this for so long.
Yeah. Just case in point, you do have the misdemeanor driving under the influence, probably. You do have the pursuit, ready to yield to a pursuit. And then if we saw the footage on the right, when they showed you earlier, when they did a pit maneuver, he would squeeze through the patrol cars and actually hit them. So in theory, you actually have assault with a deadly weapon on the police officer. A felony crime, a level 1 felony crime.